I record this video to explain what is e-invoicing means to our controllership team. I would there's several videos here. So for the first one, this one, I will explain how e-invoicing method is a security method. So first of all, this is a testing instance. So whatever you see is not in the real system. Don't worry about that. Okay, what I want to show is, say in the testing system, I choose one of the supplier called Singapore Retailers Association, okay, and then I create a dummy email address, right? Normally this email address is the supplier email address, okay. We will ask the requester to create a new supplier with a primary contact, so this is the email address from the supplier side. And then have the contact person. So what happened is I would click into the supplier and then just go down a little bit. As long as all the contact information is in the system, I will send an invitation to them to join Cooper supplier portal. Okay, so for this case, I already sent the invitation. Let's do it one more time. I can click on that, and then the supplier, there's some default message, and then the supplier will receive. If I click send invitation, the supplier email will receive the invitation. So the first step is we need the supplier register in supplier portal, which is free. It won't cost them anything. Now I get into the supplier email. So for instance, for the first invitation I sent out will look like this. Hello supplier, right? And then they can click John Cooper. Okay, if they click on John Cooper, they need to go through a process and set up the password, some background information. So let's say I do it now quickly. I mean, it's the supplier operation here. Very quickly do this one, set it up. Now once the registration is complete, you see it's very quick. There's some introduction, supplier can click and see that, that's fine. Now I skip it. I would also send out a guideline to our supplier to finish the basic setting for their portfolio. At least they need to. Now if they don't do anything, right, that's okay too, but then now you see the invitation is from VF, that's why they linking to VF. But very importantly, I need them to finish up the remit to setting for the e-invoice purpose. Now I will have a guideline to the supplier, so they just follow the guideline, finish the registration. They should be able to see their banking information and the remit to I just mentioned. Okay, as long as they have this basic setup, what could the supplier do is they can choose to use this supplier portal to receive orders and create invoice to VF. Right? As you see, the login is controlled by the supplier, right? And only the supplier have the login, email, and the password. So this is basically very unique. I understand from Singapore perspective, they need to ensure, auditor, they need to ensure the invoice is from the supplier side, not through any third party. So in the past, they did email evidence to prove that. But then going forward, by this approach, I think it's highly secure. So what they can do is, say I create some invoice to this. I create some purchase order to this vendor. They can see the purchase order here, right? So as you can see here, all they can do is they can click on this Go Cons, okay, in the supplier portal, click on the Go Cons, and then they will able to, oh, sorry, some mistake, but then let me start that over again. Here's the purchase order. One function before we get into the invoice, I want to introduce is this PO you see here do not have a total price because I higher the price when I raise the PO. Okay, so the supplier won't able to see how much we raise. For certain scenario, it may be useful. If it is not applicable, then just ask our business user to not higher price. Okay, so for the second PO you see here, I didn't high price, so you can see how much is the total. Now regardless, if the supplier is ready to submit the invoice to BF, they can get into log into the supplier portal, click to orders, purchase orders, and then click on the Go Cons, and then it will take them to the page. Just like dining team they normally do, is create the invoice receipt page. Okay, now there's no restriction for them. We don't intend to change the supplier operation, so whatever method they have been using to create the invoice number, they can keep it as is. I don't know, I just make it up. Let's say they do it this way, ABC. Okay, this is the invoice number for this invoice, fine, have no issue. The invoice day, say is today, and then you can see the currency, although it looks like they have an option, then normally we'll ask them don't change it because this currency selection is based on the PO they just click on. Okay, the only requirement we have is the supplier, they must I don't care, they use a system, they may have a hard copy invoice or whatsoever, they have their invoice format. Okay, we don't intend to change the invoicing methodology. The only requirement is, however way they prepare the invoice, they have to upload that in here. Okay, so let's say this is the invoice, no problem. Okay, they click on that, they upload it, fine. All right, so this is a must. Okay, so the supplier, they also need to double check. Normally they have only few, 1 to 5 bank accounts, I will assume, and then in the company setup, okay, they already input the banking information associated with BF. They just need to double check that. Right, now going down, if the supplier, if this PO, we issue 2 lines, right? One is for August part-time job, one is for September part-time job, and now the supplier say, okay, it's ready for the August one, they can cross out the September one, and now just tell me, they just input however much they want to charge us. Okay, maybe this amount for 4,500. If it has any taxation charge, right, the supplier can click on this line level taxation and then choose the appropriate one. So let's say I don't know, this in this case I just make it up. Okay, let's say it's 5%, fine. Okay, and then the supplier can click on calculate, then it has the service cost plus the tax amount, so the total will be 4,725, right? If the supplier have no problem, and they of course they need to ensure that this amount, right, or this breakdown must match with the upload invoice. Okay, so if they say okay, everything good, they can click submit, and then just final confirm if anything else they want to change. If not, send invoice. Then this is one of the ways the supplier to prepare e-invoice from Cooper supplier portal. All right, so it give it a minute. We will see the invoice. So here we go, you see the invoice 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 ABC I just created, right, and with 4,725 Singapore dollar. The good thing is supplier now can get into the supplier portal, view the orders and the invoice status. If they really need to see what's going on, of course they can read the status pending approval, They can click into the invoice, see what is pending, right? What's going on. If they see nothing, then probably we can chase dialing team, see what is pending, and for this case, they see that user haven't do the GL yet. Okay, or let me show you the other example. Was let's see this invoice, right? Approved it, so they can click into that. The supplier can click into that. Just go down a little bit. They would just care about the payment. They can open up the payment box. They can see when do we pay, right? And then for now, if dining team they pay and it's successfully paid out, the description field should have the payment advice number as well. Okay, so the supplier portal is highly recommended for the supplier side to register and handle orders and e-invoice. Alright, so I will please watch the next video. I will have the second method to create an e-invoice.